thick, rich, saucy. This vegan lentil bolognese is going to rock your world. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm actually not the biggest fan of red sauce pastas or marinaras. I typically tend to go for the more creamy carbonara, Alfredo style pastas, which I actually do have recipes for on my channel already because I am a pastaholic. Make sure you subscribe. But I gotta say, this bolognese has completely changed my mind on the subject, and it will do the same to you as well. It is meal prep friendly as the sauce freezes really well and it makes a huge batch. Plus, look at the macros here, you guys. This is a super healthy and nutritious pasta, which who doesn't love that? Lentils truly are such a nutritious powerhouse ingredient that, let's be honest, we don't really use enough of in our everyday cooking. So that's why you guys are going to see a lot more of my favorite lentil recipes hitting the channel over the next few weeks. I recently asked you guys what you wanted to see in a community poll, and this is what you guys wanted, so of course I'm gonna serve it up. So let's talk vegetable prep for a quick second here. If you have a good quality food processor that you think can do a really good job of finely dicing up the vegetables into a pretty small little dice, then by all means feel free to use your food processor here. Otherwise, you're gonna need to use a really sharp knife because you have a lot of chopping ahead of you, but that is a-okay if you have got the right song. Okay, now that we've got some pretty good tunes pumping, we're gonna get started on finely mincing up those carrots, celery, and onion. This is also known as a sofrito in Italian cooking, much like the French mirepoix. Now, in order to get a really good small dice, you wanna make sure you're using a sharp chef's knife. This will just make your chopping so much easier and much safer because we all know a sharp knife is a safe knife. Now, we're also gonna do the same with our mushrooms. I use white mushrooms. You can use brown mushrooms, and you don't have to have quite as much finesse with the chopping of the mushrooms. You can just kind of go nuts like you see me doing there. We're gonna do the same with our garlic cloves. Of course, you can use a garlic press if that makes your life easier. And ta-da! All of our veggies are prepped. They are finely chopped like so. And it looks like there's a lot here, and there is, but it's gonna reduce a lot as it cooks down, and it's gonna release so much amazing flavor. Okay, now that we have the most time-intensive step of this recipe out of the way, we can celebrate with a quick dance break, and then let's head over to the stove. We're gonna heat a deep saute pan over medium-high heat. We're gonna heat up some water or a little bit of oil. Then we're gonna add in those minced onions, garlic, carrots, and celery, plus a pinch of salt and pepper. Stir that pretty often, and we're gonna saute the veggies down until they're golden brown and pretty fragrant, about 5 minutes or so. A quick and helpful tip for you guys is to make sure that you add a little pinch of salt and pepper to the ingredients as you add them in, pretty much every step of the way, because you really wanna make sure things are well seasoned, and you're making a lot of sauce here. So taste it as you go. Don't be shy. Add a little bit more salt and pepper as needed because there's gonna be a lot of food here to season. Now we can add in our chopped walnuts and our minced mushrooms. We're gonna stir that all together, and we're gonna cook everything down for another 5 minutes or so, or until the mushrooms have shrunk in size by about 50%. If you need to, you can add a tablespoon of water now and then to deglaze the pan, and then we're going to stir in some tomato paste and our dried herbs being basil, oregano, and thyme, plus of course another pinch of salt and pepper. Give that all a really good stir. We want that tomato paste to be well incorporated into the veggies. And we want to let the tomato paste darken in color for about 3 minutes or so. It's going to kind of caramelize and release a lot of delicious flavor. Now this next step is to deglaze the pan with some red wine vinegar and water. Deglazing means scraping off any browned bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan, which is going to infuse everything with so much delicious flavor, so don't skip this step. Let the vinegary vapors evaporate over the next 3 minutes or so, and then we can add in our next ingredients, which are the 2 cups of cooked brown lentils, plus our canned crushed tomatoes, some vegetable stock, and a bit of nutritional yeast for some savory umami flavor, and of course another pinch of salt and pepper, and some red chili flakes if you want a little bit of heat, which is always a good idea in my opinion. Give that all a really good stir, and then we're going to basically just bring this mixture up to a boil. Then we're going to reduce it to a rapid simmer, cover it, and let it cook down for about 30 to 35 minutes. We're going to let the magic happen oven and let all of those flavors just come together and create a delicious, rich sauce. For this recipe, make sure that you guys choose a pasta noodle that is pretty wide or thick, as wider, thicker noodles tend to do a better job at scooping up the sauce, making sure the sauce clings to it a little bit better. So noodles like linguine, penne, rigatoni, tagliatelle, those are all great options as they'll just really help to scoop up the sauce better. And also when you're cooking the pasta noodles, make sure you only cook them until they are just al dente. You don't want them to be overcooked because you're going to be adding the noodles to the sauce later to finish cooking. This is especially true if you're using gluten-free noodles, as they tend to cook faster and get mushier faster. Okay, so it's been about 30 to 35 minutes since we've let the sauce simmer away, and look how it is darkened in color. Totally delicious. And look how thick it is. Now to add a little bit of extra sweetness and tang, we're gonna add a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar and half a teaspoon of any sweetener you like. I'm using coconut sugar. Stir that all together, and now make sure you give it a good taste. See if it needs any adjusting. You can add more balsamic vinegar for sweetness, more salt, more pepper, more chili flakes, more herbs, pretty much whatever you think needs adjusting. Do it now, give it another taste, and that's it. Sauce should be done. Now you can add in your cooked noodles. Now at this point, I wish I had a bigger pot that I was working with, because stirring in those noodles was a little bit stressful, not gonna lie. It's okay, it all turned out perfectly in the end. As you can see here, we've got a big pot of delicious bolognese pasta that you can now garnish with some fresh herbs. I had some fresh basil that I sliced up. You can add fresh parsley though, if that's what you have. If you have some vegan Parmesan cheese, now would be a great time to sprinkle some over top. This is just the real deal, you guys. Not only does this make an absolutely enormous pot of pasta that will serve at least 6 people, it is so incredibly flavorful. It is so rich. The sauce is so thick, but not too thick that it doesn't combine nicely. It coats the noodles so perfectly. Everything is just hearty. The texture is on point. The walnuts add this amazing little element of crunch. There's just so much flavor. It's perfectly sweet, spicy, tangy, herby, and it's really filling too. There's 15 grams of protein per serving from those delicious lentils. This is just the best, you guys. Ooh, that's a hot bowl. All right, let's do a little taste test, shall we? Yes. There's so much complexity to this bolognese. It's sweet, it's got a little bit of tanginess, it's got a little bit of heat, it is savory. It's just got such rich, deep flavor. I love it because it's also veggie packed, yet still very meaty thanks to the lentils and the walnuts. Winner, winner, pasta dinner. Subscribe below if you like high protein, gluten-free, vegan recipes, and check out this pastas playlist next while you're at it, because your perfect pasta is waiting there for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll smell you later. Oh my god, I'm like Britney Spears.